Okay, so the universe is endlessly cruel and uncaring. Life is meaningless. You could be replaced by an identical clone tomorrow and nobody would notice. Got all that? Cool. Let's talk about Rick and Morty. It is undoubtedly one of the most tightly written shows on TV. But with so many wacky sci-fi ideas flying out of the screen, there are always going to be unanswered questions and even occasional discrepancies. And hey, Season 5 is on the way and life is meaningless, so here are 12 of our favorite unanswered questions and nitpicks from Rick and Morty.
Deal. All right, well, come on, let's get going.
Perhaps fittingly, the Citadel of Ricks is no longer the Citadel of Ricks. It's just the Citadel, and it's under the control of evil Morty, who we'll come back to later. Why is this fitting? Because there's something about the Council of Ricks that always bugged us. As with most elements of the show, you can hand-wave it and say that it's a good gag, but does it really fit with our generally understood character of Rick Sanchez that thousands of them would team up to build a whole society? And a society that kind of has, or had, a stick up its butt? Is this a hint that the Rick that we know is actually an aberration in the multiverse, and that his natural state is more of a Law and Order type? Now there's a horrifying plot twist. While we're on the Citadel, our Rick, specifically Rick C-137, has made it pretty clear from the first appearance of the Council of Ricks that he hates them. And with good reason. They represent everything he's against.
That makes every Rick here less Rick than me.
If Rick C-137 was going to create a society, there would be way more sex and drugs. So if he hates them so much, and the Galactic Federation come to that, why not just avoid them entirely? Rick has access to infinite dimensions after all. Surely there are plenty of free parallel universes to choose from. Or maybe Rick just hates his enemies so much that a part of him wants to keep running into them. One of Rick's major advantages is his portable portal gun tech. This is a common MacGuffin in the series. We see characters trying to con Rick out of his formula and even create bootleg portal gun tech of their own, with grim results. But why is this technology so sought after? In the very first episode, we see that the Galactic Federation already has access to teleportation technology. Sure, it's clunky and requires huge amounts of energy, but if they've got the basics, you'd think their scientists would be able to figure it out. And if not, maybe they need some better scientists. Alright, this is a nitpick, admittedly, but hey, that's what we're here for. Fans have loved Mr. Meeseeks ever since his first appearance in Season 1.
I'm Mr. Meeseeks! Look at me!
But you may not have realized that there's a discrepancy in the Season 4 episode Edge of Tomorty, Rick Die Rick Pete. In this episode, Rick orders a Meeseeks to kill Morty, who is suffering from a major case of becoming a fascist. In the ensuing confusion, everyone is sucked out into space and Morty asphyxiates. So, does that mean the Meeseeks accomplished his task? In which case, why doesn't he disappear in a puff of smoke like they usually do? Is it because the task was completed indirectly, or because he didn't realize it had been accomplished, or what? What happened? And this is the sort of stuff that keeps me awake at night. An oldie but a goodie. Way back in Season 1's Rick Potion number 9, after making Morty a love potion to use on his crush Jessica, the less said about that the better, Rick inadvertently destroys the world. As a result, he and Morty have to escape to a new dimension. Seems kind of extreme even for this nihilistic genius. Could Rick not just peek into a universe where he cured the potion, steal the formula, and remedy his mistake? Damn, he really wanted to teach Morty a harsh lesson about the meaningless of existence. In Morty's Mind Blowers, Morty discovers that Rick keeps a whole bunker full of the kid's extracted and forgotten memories. The memories are color-coded, with red vials containing Rick's mistakes, blue containing Morty's mistakes, purple representing family mistakes, and yellow and green, neither of which are defined within the episode. But Morty also happens to point out some pink vials by the liquor.
Then why are all those pink ones by the liquor? Liquor?
Rick brushes it off, and it's never returned to. And we can't help but wonder, what's with the pink memories, bruh? Are they so super dark that Rick won't let Morty see them? Are they Rick's? Are they Beth's? So many questions. Speaking of Beth, with any ongoing show, there are mysteries that may not be solved until the end, or at all. But there is one that we really hope is going to get some attention, and that is the mystery of Beth's mother. Now, there could be any number of reasons why we don't know anything about her. Roiland and Harmon could be saving it for a big revelation, or they may not think it's important. But it's hard not to wonder. After all, pretty much every Rick that we've seen across the multiverse has a Morty at his side. If there's a Morty, unless he's been specially grown, which, hey, that could happen, that means that there must be a Beth. And if there's a Beth, there's gotta be a Mrs. Sanchez, right? What aren't you telling us, Rick? And hey, while we're still on the subject of Beth, in the final episode of Season 3, Beth makes a fourth wall breaking joke that implies that she knows she's in a TV show.
In many ways, things will be like Season 1, but more streamlined.
Only a very few select characters get to make jokes like that in Rick and Morty. Mainly Rick, but Mr. Poopy Butthole has done it as well. So, in the spirit of overthinking, what could this possibly mean? Is it because Beth is Rick's daughter, so she has some insight that other characters don't have? Is she secretly some sort of omniscient, multi-dimensional god? Was it just a joke? Should we cut back on the coffee? So, you think you're pretty clever, do you, Rick? You think you're some kind of dimension-hopping super genius who's above petty nonsense like superhero movies? You think we MCU fans are pathetic children?
I don't respect time travel. If Ant-Man and the Wasp can do it, I'm not interested.
Well, excuse us. But if you were actually as clever as you say you are, maybe you would know that Ant-Man and the Wasp doesn't feature any time travel. That was Avengers Endgame. Checkmate, Sanchez. Super genius totally annihilated by YouTube list.
Your boos mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.
Whenever we see Ricks and Mortys going about their business in the Citadel, whether the Mortys are cops, criminals, teachers, students, or just slack-jawed sidekicks, they're always teenagers. What gives? Is there something amiss with these Mortys? Some kind of genetic engineering that keeps them at age 14 forever? Do they start as babies, then hit 14 and just stop? Is that how one Morty can be at school and another can have a job, but they both look the same? Justin, Dan, if you're watching, call us. Whenever a movie or TV show introduces something hugely powerful, such as time travel, it raises a lot of questions. Chief among them, why not just use that all the time to solve all your problems? Of course, the real answer to that question is because then there would be no show. But that's the risk you take. Something like time travel, or in this case time freezing, is monumental enough that it could completely break the show. Which is why we can't help wondering why Rick doesn't just freeze time, well, all the time. It would solve, if not all of his problems, then a bunch.
You really dropped the ball, man.
But then again, while Rick is lazy, he doesn't always like to make things easy on himself. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but he's kinda messed up.
Yep, it really makes you appreciate how fickle the universe can be.
And finally, a question that has been bugging us ever since the first episode of this show. What is with the Cthulhu monster in the opening credits? Are we ever gonna see that adventure? Rick and Morty go full Lovecraft? Who doesn't want to experience that insanity? Surely you can't just drop Cthulhu in your opening credits and then never mention it again. Well, maybe when you're Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon you can. Now we know this last question will never be answered. In fact, the whole gag is built around the fact that it will never be answered. We know that. And yet, we still want to know what's up with this cat in Season 4, Episode 4. Don't you?
Maybe it's time you stopped asking questions and started having fun.